November 29th, 1943. Europe's skies are a war zone. Between the thundering engines and bursts of flak, a single B-17 bomber, known as Rikki Tikki Tavi, struggles to keep its place in formation. In the tail cone, 21-year-old Eugene Moran holds his fraternal twin. 50 caliber machine guns scanning the sky for enemy fighters. He knows the odds. All aboard know the odds. Their target, Bremen, Germany, is among the most heavily defended industrial cities in the Reich. Survival is a gamble, and today the risk has never been greater. Then the intercom crackles to life. Bandits, 12 o'clock high. The call jolts the crew. Gene's heart races as he spots the first wave of German fighters. Bf-110S with deadly rocket mortars. The enemy aircraft hurtles toward the formation, launching a volley of rockets that detonate in fiery puffs. One B-17 goes into a spin, its engines burning. Gene swallows hard, his hands clenching the triggers. "This is it," he says to himself. The German fighters scream by, and Gene lays waste, guns barking out a hail of bullets. "Get them, Gene," someone yells into the intercom. He sees one enemy plane going down, smoke trailing, disappearing into the clouds. But there's little time to celebrate. More fighters are on the way. Bf-109s and the feared FW-190s, known as butcherbirds. The sky a swirling maelstrom of planes, tracer fire, and explosions. Flak, 11 o'clock low. The formation now has some of the anti-aircraft guns on the ground opening fire on them. Black puffs of smoke puff from the air, and the Rikki Tikki Tavi erupts violently as shrapnel slices into its fuselage. Even through this chaos, the crew carries on. The bombardier drops the payload, and the bombs tumble toward their target. Bombs away! The plane lifts, suddenly lighter, and the pilot points it toward home. But the threat is far from over. The Germans are fierce and vengeful for the bombing of Bremen. A new wave of fighters descends on the formation. Gene fires until his guns start to overheat, empty shell casings hanging around his feet. The intercom is a clamor of voices. 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, bandits everywhere. The Rikki Tikki Tavi gets hit after hit, and the crew can sense the plane having trouble holding position in formation. Then the unimaginable occurs. The B-17 starts to lag behind. Gene observes their plane distancing itself from the remainder of the formation. "What's going on?" he shouts into the intercom. The pilot has not responded. The engines are still going, but the plane is slowing down. With nowhere to turn, the Rikki Tikki Tavi is an easy target. The German fighters pounce. Bullets rattle the tail section, drenching the plexiglass in shrapnel that invades Gene's place of work. He strikes back with all that he has, but it's his guns that jam at the top possible moment. He is hit by a burst of gunfire, shattering both arms and several ribs. His flight suit is soaked in blood, and yet he keeps fighting. Vowing sheer will, he works to free one of the guns and fires on an approaching fighter. The enemy aircraft veers off, smoking. Then a sudden, deafening groan of metal. The tail section jolts violently, and Gene senses the floor below him give way. Next thing he knows, he's falling. The tail end is detached from the forward plane body. The plane twirls, and it falls to the ground. The force of the spin pins Gene in place, and as blood fills his eyes, he fights to remain conscious. Outside is a blur of sky and ground, spinning faster and faster. The impact is brutal. The tail section smashes into a woods, the impact sufficient to kill any man. But somehow, Gene survives. Stunned and racked with searing pain, he crawls out of the wreckage. His arms are broken, his ribs shattered, his skull cracked open so wide he feels the softness of his brain with his fingers. But he continues to move, a primal instinct for survival propelling him. Voices carry through the trees. Gene freezes because he half expects German's soldiers to capture or kill him. But the voices are speaking in French. Local workers, as well as German soldiers, discover him and pull him to a nearby camp. A Serbian doctor performs surgery, inserting a metal plate into his head to cover his exposed brain. Gene is physically injured, but the psychological scars run far deeper. For years, he dreams of stumbling and spinning. Gene is finally liberated after months in a POW hospital at the war's end. He goes home, a ruined but still breathing man. His story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In 2022, 8 years after Gene died, his friend John Armbruster publishes the book Tailspin, so that Gene's incredible story of survival will never be forgotten.